Welcome everyone to today's live podcast. So excited to be here with all of you. I'm Anastasia, of course. We have the beautiful Ludmila also joining us. And we know that Mother's Day is coming up right around the corner, right? It's just a few days away. And if you are somebody who is a mompreneur, right? You're a business owner, or maybe you're a corporate leader and a mom at the same time, sometimes it could feel very difficult on how do you balance both? Because in today's world, we feel like we have to choose between one or the other. So for today's live podcast, we're going to talk all about how you can be both. Okay, how you can be a mother, a business owner, and still stay in your feminine energy, which is so
Yes.
important for us, as we're getting out there and creating and manifesting and building these dream lives. So, again, in honor of Mother's Day, the special conversation is for women who are building a business, raising a family, and learning how to honor themselves in the process. So we're going to talk about the reality of mother and entrepreneur, right? How do you balance both with presence, leadership with nurturing, and how do you balance success with femininity and softness? And yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this conversation because Ludmila and I are both mothers and entrepreneurs and business leaders. And I think that according to the zodiac, we're both cancers, right?
We are.
Yes,
Yes, I forgot about that. We're both cancers.
which is like the mother of the zodiac. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
How
so
fitting.
what better way, right? Who better to learn from?
Yeah. Ta-da, you and I.
So yeah, I would love to kind of open the floor to you, Ludmila, and if you want to share, well, first, what is it that you do? I know that you're a marketing strategist. You've spent years, if not decades, in marketing in the business world. So tell us a little bit more about you.
Going back to the question you asked me about not having to choose, right? Between being a mom and being an entrepreneur. There was a phrase that I heard a while back is that a lot of times, and I did that for many years, right? I grew up where my dad was the business leader and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. So she took care of all of us. So when my son came along, I was like doing really, really well in my career. And I was like, this baby is going to be born, and in 3 months, he's in my schedule, and I'm back at work. And Lucas was born, and I just like, I can't do this. Because it was just the three of us, was Martin, Lucas, and I. We didn't have any family close by. So there and then I made a choice to be a stay-at-home mom for a while. Like Martin and I, we decided, and I'm like, I am going to be with Lucas for the first few years, right? I didn't know for how long, but I'm like, I want to be a mom. I want to enjoy. It was hard on the income side, but I did what we both thought was the right thing at that time. There is no right or wrong thing. Different things work for different families. But after a while, the businesswoman inside of me was just like, I was so happy as a mom making breakfast pancakes for 7 kids, even though I just have one. It was like 6 kids on the street. I treasure and cherish those memories, right? Like the breakfast pancakes and walk to school and pick it up. But the businesswomen, like the other 50%, is like, what are you doing? You have so much inside of you. Like, is what Dean and Tony like, and people say you're meant for more, right? What I was doing was incredibly, incredibly valuable, but I knew I had more inside of me. And that's when I had to make a choice to, okay, I had my non-negotiables, which is whatever I do to support others. I still want to wake up in the morning, make my son breakfast, walk him to school, go pick it up, volunteer at school, and not miss any practice or games. This was my non-negotiable. So once I was able to visualize that, then I was able to create the business around those things that were so important for me at that time. And that is how I was able to manage both and decided to be both because going back to the phrase I heard, It was a businesswoman entrepreneur also that said a lot of us, we use our kids as an excuse not to go to work. And again, it's different for everyone. It's no right or wrong. This is why I always said, like friends of mine, when I decided to stay home, I was judged because like, oh, you're supposed to be working and pay for everything. And I'm like, well, my child needs love and care and a house right now. As he get older, then he needs brand and stuff, right? So it's no right or wrong. Whatever you think is right for you, go for it. But that was my choice, right? To no negotiables and then go back to work. And that's when I found ways to work online, to bring my marketing strategy from brick and mortar to the online world. And that's when I started my marketing agency in 2014. And the rest is history because our kids, they grow older, they want to spend more time with their friends. And then when he was in high school, I took the job full time at Mastermind, and here now he's turning 18. I love what I do. He's happy, he's working, he has a girlfriend, but that is how, long story short, how I was able to balance all of it. And it's never balanced. You put priorities, but as long as I could go see my son in the games and school, I was happy.
Yeah. And I love that you got that experience where, like a lot of women, they'll start a job or a business
Yeah.
in the beginning because they want to set a foundation before they have kids, but then they kind of have to work backwards because they don't know what their non-negotiables are, right?
Yeah.
They don't know that like they're so used to the corporate person, and
Hmm.
now all of a sudden a baby comes in and it's like, oh my gosh, how do I now fit my baby into or my children into my business, into my mission
Yeah.
and my work, where how you started was with setting that foundation first,
Yeah.
understanding what was a non-negotiable for you, and then building a career, a business around it. So that way
Yeah.
you can have more freedom. You can go to his games and pick him up from school and do all these things without having to sacrifice.
Yeah. And if I wasn't able to do that, like if I wouldn't be able to do that, I know I would be absolutely miserable. And sometimes we do what we got to do, right? But I used the time he was in school to do all my work. So I really compress everything in that time. And after that, then I was there. I was the mom. I was with Lucas. I was with my husband. And needless to say, there are another that you work a little longer, but in general, the majority of my time was able to compress time for work and then non-negotiables to this day, right? Even though he's 18, I get to arrange my coaching sessions around that is still my non-negotiable to go and watch his games,
Yeah.
right? Because I know if I'm not there, my head's not going to be anywhere but there, but my body's not there. So I make sure my body and my head is there, and I watch the game, and then I'm back and I'm fully present for everything else I am doing, right? And this is how and I wanted to be an example for him that you could go after your dreams, you could go leave a legacy or create something more. Legacy is a big word, but it's just show. I just want to show my child that it's possible to dream, to go through hard times, and come back on top, and still do what you love.
Mhm.
And is a big life lesson. My main thing is like I don't want to miss a second of my son's life, but when he's at school, I want to help other people, and I feel like I was able to do that to the
Yeah.
most part.
Well, you've created a really beautiful balance, and I obviously I see it because we work together.
Yep.
And but something that I really want to point out is like when it comes to legacy,
Yep.
legacy can be a lot of different things, just like you said,
Mm-hmm.
for different people. So
Yeah.
there's no shame or guilt for, like, let's say if you're watching this and you're wondering, well, I want to build my business, but I don't want to have to step away from being a mom right now. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That is a legacy, right? Your children are a legacy, and
100%.
the more that you pour into them, they grow up and they have children, and now you're passing on this like beautiful generational karma in a good way
Yeah,
down
exactly.
that family line. Um, and for many of you that are maybe wanting to balance being a mom and being a business leader or an entrepreneur, you can do that, right? It's all about finding balance and ultimately is it's your choice, right? What is
Mhm.
it that ultimately fuels you? Where's your heart calling you? Only you can know.
Mhm.
And I want to remove all the guilt because I felt so much
Exactly.
guilt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, what you mentioned just remind me about a different topic to add to it is that what is your definition of success? What in throughout our lives, our definition of success changes. My definition of success when my son was born was to be with him, to again do the breakfast pancakes. That was, I wanted to be a mom. That was my definition of success at that time. Even through the hard times, the ups and downs, that was my definition of success. As Lucas got older, the definition of success changed a little bit, right? With the businesswoman coming up. But I think at one point when I started working, uh, my definition of success was to buy a basketball hoop on the backyard. So for the backyard, so my son could play with his friends. And one day, my husband and I were sitting at the gazebo and having a coffee, and then Lucas had like five of his friends from the basketball team playing, and it hit me. Like I started crying, and my poor husband, he looked at me, he's like, "What?" And I'm like, I just realized my definition of success at this moment in my life. With the work and the money, I'm helping others. We're raising Lucas, but we were sitting as a couple having a coffee while our son was playing basketball in the basketball hoop with all of his friends, right? So that was my definition of success. Now Lucas is getting older. The definition of success is going to change. Are we going to travel more? Are we going to do more things? And like, I wanted to mention this to be okay to have different definitions of success. And a lot of times, your definition of success, if it's truly yours, some people might not agree with it. So it's up to you, it's your choice to change for someone else or to really find a way to align and have your definition of success.
Yeah.
And be okay with that.
That's beautiful. That's such an important message because people will have their opinions, and best believe you're going to have the women that are saying that you're giving up on your dreams because you're choosing to raise a family, or you're going to have the women that are, or not even other women, but where it becomes the most painful is from the people closest to you, right? Your family members, your
Yeah.
spouse, so your ex-spouse, right? Like
Yep.
my because that was my a big issue for me is I spend so much time and I have two kids. My daughter is now in college, but
Beautiful.
the majority of her life, especially in the beginning, I was in my 20s and I was, I was in network marketing, then I started my
Hmm.
business, then I was in the corporate world and I was in sales. And in my mind, I was doing something for them, but I was being judged a lot, right, for not giving more attention, being more present. And in my
Hmm.
mind, I'm like, but you guys, I'm building something for you. Like, this is for us so that we can have money. And then eventually I don't
Yeah.
have to have a job and I can have the freedom and we can travel. But in their mind, it was like, oh, mom's too focused on work. Work is more important.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my partner the other day and I gave this metaphor and I was like, oh, so perfectly describes it because in my mind, I was focusing on my goals and I was carrying my family on my back.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, I'm carrying you guys. We're going
Yeah.
towards this goal. But in their mind, I had my back turned on them. And so there could be so much guilt and shame, and it really carries over, right? Especially when your kids grow up and you're like, oh my gosh, I missed this time. And so you ultimately have to make the choice and just know that whatever choice you make, it's going to benefit your family one way or another,
Hmm.
right? and feel good about that choice. And with any
Yes.
choice that you make, there are going to be sacrifices. No choice is ever going to be perfectly
No,
checking all the boxes. There's always
no.
going to be
Yeah.
sacrifices.
The main thing is you did the best you thought you could with what you have at that specific time,
Mhm.
right? Is absolutely no right or wrong. Every choice have consequences. Me not working for a while, it was really hard financially, right? But I was willing at that point to have less, but have more of what I wanted. Like maybe looking back, maybe a few things I would have done differently. Not that I didn't work at all. I worked a little bit, but it's like, no, the focus is Lucas. But then as he got older, got into school, I'm like, okay, changing gears, right? And the cool thing is, one more thing that I wanted to say to the woman that's out there and you decided to stay home or take care of your kids or whatever you choose, don't ever believe that you cannot get back on top, because I've been through all of the things and up and downs, and I stay home and I won it and I loved it and I built my agency. But again, because priority was to be with Lucas, I had a fewer clients. So it was awesome, but it wasn't like I didn't like fully scale because I had this fear of missing seconds of my son's life because it's finite, right? Now I'm getting to the stage where he's 18 and he's in this, we raised them for that, but I had so in me, like I don't miss that. And again, it's no right or wrong. Everybody's different. That was me. But then when I decided to get the coaching position that was offered and go full time, I had to close my business. The same for you. You had to close your business when you started working. It was a year and a half, less than 2 years. I was like back. Like I all my credit was back. I bought the car I wanted. Like those were my new definitions of success, right? I took my husband and my son in a trip to Europe. But and I went back on my game and I love what I do. So I want you to use this as an example or a windows to your future. If right now you are on that messy, that beautiful messy middle, taking care of two, three kids, that is this life out of after this, like you're tired, you're not sleeping. Yes, there is life after that, a different life after that for you. As your kids grow, you make sure to reinvent yourself and you get back on top. And hey, you can still have an awesome life. And I wanted to share that because a lot of women I hear that, oh, I'm too old. Oh, I'm out of the game. BS. You're not too old. If you want to do it, you get it done and you make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard this one lady say there's seasons of life, and just that phrase of seasons of life, it's like, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful
Yeah.
because there's seasons of motherhood, there's seasons of spreading your wings, entrepreneurship, there's the empty nester season, which I was thinking like if I didn't have my son, because we didn't have him for a while, and
Yeah.
for a while I thought my daughter was going to be the only one, I would have been an empty nester right now.
I know
Like
you'll
I
be
would have
like the
been
same as me right now. It's
Oh,
like
that's right. Yes, yes, because your son just
you're a
turned.
couple of years ahead of me. I'm getting to that stage, like getting used to like, hey, are you gonna come home?
But then there's grandchildren, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, I think that we kind of set an example for a beautiful balance of how you can balance
Yeah.
entrepreneurship and motherhood. Now, what do you think are maybe some of the strengths that one can give to each other? What have you noticed from your experience? Like, how does motherhood actually help you be a better entrepreneur and vice versa?
Oh yeah. I love that question. And I want to hear from you. I would love to hear that answer from you as well. Same thing. It gives you that extra drive. And I think it helps us add the 100% possible 100% of the time. Instead of either or, how can I create both and? So it makes you creative. because you know your non-negotiables and you know your responsibilities at work. How can you blend those and be the best at both sides,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you have to choose one or another, one day or another, but in general, how can you create 100% possible 100% of the time? So, and you relate in a different way, right? Like a lot of our clients inside Mastermind are women. We have incredible gentlemen also, but they are women that are starting their own business. And I think being a mom and being through that messy middle is like, oh my God, this will ever gonna end. And now I talk to moms that are in that stage, and I can relate in a different way and say, hey, don't worry. This is a very small time on the grand scheme of your life,
Mhm.
right? So, and then share, how can you create your non-negotiables? Can you block time on your calendar to do what you want to do for your business? So you're still taking care of your kids, but you following your dream. Is that someone that you can delegate the kids for a couple of hours so you can focus and work on this, right? So helping them to find ways to balance, right? And inspiring them. So it's nice to see at this stage in life, and I think you can feel the same way, that all the different paths we walk, I feel like the pieces of the puzzle that I call life, they're all coming together right now. So I can serve my clients, so I can help my friends, so I can live a better life, so I can show my son what's possible. What is the answer for you?
Yeah, I love that. I love that you mentioned like we get to learn the things so we can lead by example.
Yeah.
I think for me, well, in addition to that, the biggest benefit is, well, I had my daughter when I was 21. And so when everybody else was out partying and drinking and going to, sorority parties, I just had my daughter. I
Yeah.
was literally 9 months pregnant on my 21st birthday.
Oh.
And and I think that that was a huge benefit because rather than at that point thinking of like, oh, how can I go out and party and kind of waste, right, essentially a few
Mm-hmm.
years of my life, I went right into, okay, how do I take care of my daughter? And then so
Yeah.
my daughter became my why. So
Mm-hmm.
she became the reason why I wanted to get out there and create a better life for myself. And she was the fuel behind everything that I did. And so I think a big part of my drive and my ambition and being willing to like sacrifice hours and sleep and all these things in order to build something, not just for me, but also for her and for
For
the
her.
family.
Yeah.
Like she was the reason. And then when I had
Yeah.
my son, it was even more of that reason. So
Yeah.
it's really like you can look at your children as a burden and oh, that's something that's taking me away from my family. But it also you can look at them as the
Drive.
very reason why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always
That's
times,
awesome.
right? Like there's always going to be times when you're like, oh man, like how much more successful would I be if I didn't have kids? Sure, but if I really put myself into that position, how depressed? I don't want to think
I.
about it. Like for me, I'm a mom at heart. Like I know that there are
Yeah.
so many people that don't want to have kids, and that's beautiful, right? That's what's right for you, and that's what keeps you
100%.
passionate and alive. For me, like my children are such a big why. So knowing myself, I would feel like, who am I building this for, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that like that drive, that ambition, but also like you said, the qualities of being a mom and being nurturing and being patient and lo knowing how
Mm-hmm.
to raise someone and how to
Oh
coach
yeah.
them, all like the feminine aspect, bringing that
Mm-hmm.
into the business. I spent a lot of my years in sales, and in sales, it is consistently shown that women are like the top performers in sales. And I think
Yeah.
it's because of that, right? Because
Yeah.
of that femininity that they get to bring into their
Yeah.
work.
The nurturing. No, I love that part. Is again, it's no right or wrong, right? But that decision to go and use this example and give them the example, like, hey, I'm doing this is possible. Let's build together. And when you mentioned the feminine part of it. I remember in one of the Tony Robbins event, it was Wealth Mastery, I think, that I was participating. And part of the leadership training, it talks about relationship and stuff. And he's like, yeah, you all, men and women, you market yourself before you get married, right? And the makeup and perfume and lashes and the guys is the shirt and the shoes and stuff. And you get married and you stop marketing yourself and you wonder why things didn't work, right? So I remember when I got that, I'm like, gosh, he's so right. Because sometimes we get, like, for me, okay, I'm talking about myself. You know, when you have a kid, if you're not there for that kid, especially if you don't have family close by, that kid can't do anything without you.
Mhm.
You are the sole provider of food, of cleaning, of diaper, of sleep, of everything, right? Like, and the gentleman's there with the bottle and stuff. That's awesome. But it's like the kid needs us 24/7, and otherwise it will not thrive. Just having that responsibility alone, like, is huge, like for your first child. And you're 21. So it's amazing because you had that drive, like, to take care of her, to build your business. Like, this is beautiful, right? Like, you did what you had to do at that moment and what you wanted to do because your daughter was your why. So going back to the marketing part of it, it's so much that is on our plate that we do forget. Like, it's more the front clothes and the cozy stuff, and not a lot of times for the husband. At least for me, I'm like, I will, like, locked on with my kid. That my husband's like, hey, I'm here, and I'm like, yeah, but that thing needs me. I need to be there for that thing. I didn't know how to have a good balance. I know some people have more balance than others. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. So it took a while, and then I remember going to that seminar. I'm like, yes. So I started, like, you take care. Not that I never took care of myself, but it's just different. I'm like, hey, honey, we should go for more dinners together here and there. Like, I always exercise and ran, so it wasn't about the physical part, but it's more of that connection, right?
Mhm.
I was like, business, mom, taking care of a child, and boom, and my husband's like, and to the best of days, I'm a strong woman a lot of times, right? So I have to admit, and I'm like, I had to learn to let go the reins a little bit and share and trust. Martin's too. Martin can got it too. He think he can take care of Lucas, and as Lucas got older, I'm like, take him to the park. I need some me time. Go, 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 go. You've got this. He's not breastfeeding
Yeah.
or bottle feeding anymore. Like, go give me a little bit of me time. But I started to soften it up. I think once I realized, okay, my child is good, my husband is good, everything is okay. Okay, let's have more fun. Like, as a family, I'm a fun person, right? But it's like it was all for Lucas. So I learned to kind of divide a little bit and have that feminine side. Like, we can still be both. Hope that helps. And I want to hear from you as well.
Yeah, that's a really good transition into kind of the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is balancing that femininity and work. Because I was the same way. For me, it was very much about, like, I could not get out of the business brain. And if I wasn't, especially when I was running my own business, it's 24/7. I would wake up
100%.
in the middle of the night, to go to the girls' room, and then I'm like thinking about my converse. I just could not get out of the business brain. And so it's very difficult sometimes to, when you feel like you're the one that's carrying everything, especially as a woman, and whether you're carrying the whole family or if you have a partner who's carrying the majority of it or half of it, doesn't matter, because when you have a business, like, this is yours, this is your other baby. And so now you're balancing these two babies where this one needs you in the physical world, but then this one, like,
It's
needs you in
taking
the
brain
mental
space.
world. Yeah.
Yep.
And then you're torn between being physically present with this one, but being mentally present with this one, and neither one you're being really fully present. And
Yep.
so being able to switch back and forth between all of those roles and then still showing up for your husband in the way that he wants you to show up for him, which is soft and feminine and open and inviting, and not be the boss right at home, or not being like your leader boss energy, because I think there's something very important to polarity, and that's really the relationship that I'm looking to create. So that was very challenging. That was the biggest challenge probably that I had to experience, and learning how to compartmentalize, right? And so in those situations, number one is, again, just acknowledging that it is challenging, right? It is difficult.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people can't multitask. It's because your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. And really, multitasking, all it is just switching between roles. But that switch period takes time, right? It doesn't just happen instantaneously. You don't just get off of a Zoom call and then all of a sudden you're the most present mom. There is that transition period. So what we can do is recognize the transition period and then think about how can we make that transition period very intentional. So whether it's going outside for a walk for 10 minutes, right? And then, or a run, or for me, it was, I used to train jujitsu, and
I remember.
yeah, have you ever trained?
Not jiu-jitsu. I did karate because my dad did karate. Yeah.
But you're from Brazil, so I'm sure you saw it like
Oh,
everywhere.
100%. My brother did. My sister did. I haven't, but all my friends did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, same thing with karate, just in any martial arts.
Yeah.
When you're there, you can't think about work, because otherwise, like, you'll be tapping, right?
Yeah. You're
So,
like, ah!
but it was such a beautiful way to just completely get out of my head, get into my body. And obviously, that was a very extreme way. So for some women, it might be yoga, meditation,
Yeah.
going out on the run, going to, punching and kicking a bag, a heavy bag, for example, at the gym, whatever that is, but having that transition time. And then boundaries are so, so, so important. And I just
Yep.
recently learned, when I say recently, hey, Brandy, Brandy's watching us.
Hi.
So what I recently, just in working with my partner, learned what boundaries actually are, which was such a huge transformational moment for me, because I've always grown up thinking that boundaries was about other people. It's like pushing other people away, pushing the other responsibilities away. It's putting up these walls and keeping stuff out, right? But boundaries have nothing to do with other people. It is 100% with myself. So rather than trying to manage the world around me, or trying to manage other people or how they're showing up, which is what most people do, it's simply saying that, hey, if this situation happens, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to either remove myself, or I'm going to do whatever. And so when I had that shift, it's like, oh, I don't have to manage all of these circumstances going on around me. And, managing the fact that work is not asking more of me, or emails are not coming in, or clients are not needing my attention, or my kids aren't asking for something, my spouse isn't asking for something. I just have to manage myself, that if those situations happens, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to not answer the emails. I'm
Yeah.
going to not respond to that client. I'm going to go on the walk, right? I'm going to
Yeah.
remove myself out of that situation. But really, so we can set up the boundaries, but then it's a matter of keeping them, right?
Yep.
Building up that muscle of keeping those boundaries, and that allows us to fully show up when we need to fully show up at work, fully show up when we need to show up with our kids, our spouse, and just be fully present, right? Be fully present in that moment. I think that there's so much fear of missing out constantly running through the anxious
Yeah.
mind of, if I'm with my kids, I'm missing out something at work. But then you're not
Yep.
being fully efficient with your kids. Or if I'm at work,
Yeah.
I'm missing out something with my kids, and now I'm not being fully efficient at work. But if you recognize that if you just focus on work when you're at work and you just focus on your kids when you're with your kids, all of that stuff and more is going to get done. You're actually going to be even more efficient, more successful. You're going to be able to accomplish more in that time when you don't spread yourself out. And it's all just practicing that presence muscle. Did you did you find the same to be similar for you?
Yes. And more and more and more with us working from home, or like we are, even if you don't work from home, you're at the office, but we're on all the time, right? And sometimes the businesses expect you to be on, not all the businesses, but there is sometimes that expectation like underneath, like you're on all the time. So I had to really work on myself. And when we love what we do, if you see something coming up, you're there, you're answering, you're supporting your clients. Like I see my clients on social media and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Great post. Maybe add a link next time. And my husband is like, it's 10 o'clock at night. Are you working? And I'm like, but I'm so proud of my client. She posted, but she's missing a link if I miss this opportunity now. And he's like, just put your phone down. I'm like, you're right. Right? So the way I'm dealing with this is, one, being aware.
I'm assuming a phone call came through.
And
There you are.
yes, it was my child that I say, call dad, I'm on a live. And I just got a phone call. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so it's part of life, right? But now I do my best, and it's a work in progress, right? To, if I'm at work, like I try to finish my day and button up as much as I can and leave my phone in the office if my son is home. So Slack doesn't ding, I'm not on social media. If my son is not home, and because I bought him a car and he's driving, so that was also another adjustment, right? I'm like, I needed to be on all the time to make sure he's okay, that nothing happened. And now I'm like, okay, no, he's okay. He and I trust him, but he's like, it's the people around him. So I went through that process of, okay, Lucas is not home, but he's at his girlfriend. He's fine. I'm leaving. I purposely leaving my phone away. Or one thing I'm good normally in the morning is like I wake up in the morning. I do not touch my phone first thing in the morning. Like I wake up and I have a coffee or I meditate, and then I will check the messages. Otherwise, you start reacting. You start your day already reacting to that input instead of being present. So again, working process. But that's what I created. Like I finish everything I need to finish before I'm done, so I don't need to worry about an email to somebody. And if something happens through the night, like email sent, I start in the morning, right? And find ways to create peace of mind and really detach from the damn phone. Like, get it off my hands. Close the
Yeah.
laptop. Like that's another thing. I leave my office that is beside my living room. I close the laptop. I am done for the day, right? So what do you do?
Yeah, so it's very similar to what you do because at the end of the day, it's a mindset shift, right? We have
Yeah.
to realize that we are so much more important than all of
Mm-hmm.
these other things,
Yeah.
right? It's very easy for us to look at ourselves as the one that needs to fill these important tasks. And so we start looking at ourselves as less important, right? I'm just here so
Mm-hmm.
I can serve my clients. I'm just here so I can answer these emails.
Yeah.
And so therefore we're kind of stuck in this loop of trying to do all the things.
Be everything for
And
everyone.
everything for everyone, which includes work, clients,
Mm-hmm.
family, right? Everyone. And so for me, the first thing was really to understand that I am the one that's the most important because without me, I wouldn't have a life. I wouldn't exist, right?
True.
All those things would still exist. And guess what? When
Yeah.
I die, they're still going to exist, right? Nothing's going to happen to them.
No.
So in my life, I am the most important. And so even just understanding that, understanding my own value, right? Understanding your own value,
Mm-hmm.
all of those other things are just here to, um, to add value in their own way. But at the end of the day, I have to make decisions what's best for me in that moment, which I have really started to embody the concept of like wherever my body is, that's where my mind is. So if my body is
I
with my
love that.
child and I want to get out of my head and I want to be fully present, which
Mm-hmm.
you can't be fully present unless you're in your body, right? You're feeling the senses, you're there physically, you're looking at your child, you're playing with them, you're talking to them. That's where my mind is. And that's full mind body alignment, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like you're not going into different directions. When I'm in my office, I close the door. Now I'm in my office. My mind is where my body is, and I am serving my clients, and I'm right there. And I'm constantly fighting the urge to check my emails or check the messages while I'm on a client meeting, right? Because we all think that we can do all of these things and tackle them
Yeah.
faster, which we can't.
Yeah.
And so it's just a constant process of intentionally being present,
Mm-hmm.
right? Choosing to be in the moment. What am I doing right now? How does my body feel? Tuning into that, take a breath, relax into this moment, and be present with this person. And that in itself, I think so if you're a
Yes.
highly um, driven woman, and I think that highly driven women, our ultimate goal, it's not even the physical material things. It's we want to achieve the unachievable, right? We want to
Yeah.
attain, we want to be like, oh, if I can achieve this thing that like
Yeah.
not a lot of other people have been able to achieve, then
Yeah.
it feeds the ego, right? Like I'm special, I'm accomplished, I'm all of these things. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Well, of
But
all the different things that you can achieve in the world, the one thing that not a lot of people are able to achieve is full presence. Like it's literally the hardest thing for most people to achieve.
yeah.
So I make that my goal. It's like, hey, if I can achieve presence, which is something that is so rare, like truly
Yeah.
rare in so many people, um, then that's what I want to go for. So
Yeah.
I make that my goal every day. How present can I be today?
Yeah. That's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. Good. That's a beautiful reminder, I think, for all of us here. And this is the biggest gift you can give to someone else
Yes.
is your presence, your undivided attention for that period of time. And that's one of the reasons I'm really doing my best to put my phone away. My husband also coach and work from home. So him and I were like, we are at the dinner table, phone stays in the bedroom or whatever it is, right? Is that, and it, as you said, is the awareness. Because sometimes you're just in motion. You're so used to talking, but you're answering a message like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But you're not really listening, but you have a human beside you that also want to be with you or is there for you. So sometimes I say, hey, I really need to do this. Just give me a sec. But once that is done, I will put my phone down and I'm doing my best to be present. But again, is a working process. Can I add one more thing that for me
Yes.
helped me a lot when I went through the tough tough times? Like there were several. Is I choose to show the moral of the story, right? Like we talk about being vulnerable, and I'm like, but I want to show the lesson. I wanna show like so learning that. But the tough times that I had in my life during COVID was really hard. Um, One of the things that helped me was adding joy back into my life. So when you're talking about going to jujitsu and doing things or getting out for the boundary, I'm positive that that also brought you a lot of joy, right?
Absolutely.
So what is the joy that you can add it in your life? And it doesn't need to be grand. It can be, I am going to take 30 minutes with a cup of tea and I'm going to read a book that I've been trying to read for like 6 months. If that's going to bring you joy, add more things, write it down, the things you like and brings you joy. Remember when we were young, what were the things you used to do that brought you joy? But because life happens, you forgot about it. Those things get buried. Bring it back. Like for me, one thing that it makes me so joyful is spending time with Lucas, seeing him like doing his sports and his touchdowns or whatever it is. But for me, on the other side, is trail running, is ballroom dancing. Like when I dance, it's just beautiful. I can't even, my soul is happy. So, what can you add in your life in between the stressful times, or you trying to balance and manage and dinner and kids in your business? Take that time for you. Go to the bathroom, lock the door with your tea in your book if you have to, right? Like go hide somewhere, but do something that make you happy. Add more joy, because if we as the mothers in the houses are joyful, everything around the house changes. Like we have the power to bring that beautiful energy to the rest of us, but it's our choice to give it to ourselves first.
Yeah. So good. It's so, so, so important. And I talk about a lot about feminine energy,
Mm-hmm.
and this is how you tap into your feminine energy. And that's both for men and women. We both have our feminine energy, but that
Mm-hmm.
is the energy of creation. That's the energy of magnetism. And we see so many women that are in business and entrepreneurship that get so into their, the deadlines and the drive. They
Mm-hmm.
disconnect from their emotion.
Mm-hmm.
They try to become so efficient to the point of they completely lose the touch with that passion, with that creativity. But when you look back at your life, and not only the most joyful times, but probably when you were the most successful is when you were in flow, right?
Yeah.
You were in passion, you enjoyed what you were doing. That is the energy that's going to bring you the success. It's going to
Yeah.
bring you the love, right? The relationship,
Mm-hmm.
the magnetism, the money, all of those things. And I can go into astrology, right? When I talk about this, but
I love
that's
it.
what brings all of that to
Yeah.
you. So the very thing that we try to say that we don't have time for is the most important thing that's actually going
Mm-hmm.
to get you the results that you want. So you can balance both the fun, play, the passion, the femininity,
Yeah.
the love with the success, right? And the goals and the life that you're looking to create. And ultimately as a woman, like you're energetically birthing this life into existence.
Yeah. I love it. And I love when you bring astrology to it, because everything makes so much sense. And and I find, again, for me, sometimes the most joyful things, they're the simplest things in life, right? Like we are so, a lot of times with society and things that are happening, busy. And again, in his life, no right or wrong. But when we get ourselves, our heads up, and you go for a walk and you look at the bird on the tree, and you look at the flowers, you look at the abundance of nature that we have around us. For me, it brings me so much joy. That connection to earth, connection to nature and the lakes and the waters and the rivers, but the simple things. And I love the big things, to jump off airplanes and ride bikes and all those cool things, right? But the simple things grounds us. I find, like when I'm busy, when my head is like, this past week, like my head is buzzing, my ears are buzzing, like a stress, things are happening. I'm like, I'm aware of it, and I'm going to my trails. And I walk and I calm down and I come back, or walk on the street or walk on the grass. And then I'm back and I'm centered. So I believe that the more of us, women and men, as you said, the more tools in our toolbox that can help us calm down in times of stress, so we can shift and feel grounded, bring joy, go see the small things in life. Those are all the things that makes difference for us to have a better life as a mom, as a woman, as an entrepreneur, a daughter, a sister, a wife, like is so many facets of what we do, but learning what make you happy, what make you calm, creating the boundaries that you mentioned, it all adds up. And it's a beautiful journey. I wouldn't do anything different. Even the ups and downs and sad parts and good parts, it's all part of us.
Yeah. Everything. It's almost like I really believe in integration, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you're walking down this beautiful trail and you're picking up all of these parts of yourself, whether they're the parts that you deem as good, the parts that you deem as bad, and you're just putting them into your little basket of Ludmila or Anastasia or anybody
Yeah.
listening. And it's like, hey, this is all me. And the more that you can experience, whether it's through motherhood, through entrepreneurship, through business, through adventure, through, jujitsu or dancing, whatever it
Yeah.
is, you're discovering all of these parts of yourself. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that was such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much,
I
Ludmila,
love
for
that.
hopping on.
Yeah.
And all of you listening, I hope that you feel inspired again, whether you're, a woman, a man, a mother, a yet to be mother, or not a mother. This was filled with so much value
Yeah.
for you to take what you need. And of course, for all of you that are mothers and entrepreneurs, we really wanted to do this special live in honor of Mother's Day. So, wishing everyone an amazing, beautiful Mother's Day. Feel empowered, feel inspired, and keep tuning in. Both my channel, Ludmila's channel, we're
Yeah.
always putting out, just inspiration for you to keep going in your
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur journey. Ludmila, do you want to
Absolutely.
add something else before we hop off?
No, that's a beautiful, beautiful way to end this. And what I wanted to say is thank you for bringing this together. And to all the moms, want to be moms, not moms, women out there and men out there, believe in yourself, believe in your dreams, and keep on moving forward. You learn a few things here from us that you can use in any areas of your life. So keep on shining bright. You matter. And create your energy and your love. Thank you.
All right, love you guys.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
Ludmila, and bye everyone. Mwah.
Thank you, Anastasia.